Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about the different conditional access policies as well as the predefined and pre-built templates that we can leverage across the Microsoft Entra ID, right? So what are those templates? What those templates are going to do and how those templates are going to help us to create a conditional access policies which are going to make sure our privileged access controls are managed appropriately, how we can drill down the security on end user credentials and identities as well as devices and applications altogether, right? So before that, I would like to give you uh, a bit about the conditional access policy, what is it and how it is going to work and how it works. Probably you might have worked on that and you might be aware about it, right? And you may have created and seen that, right? So conditional access policy is something which is going to help us to extend the security across the organization, right? And it is beyond the our organizational network perimeters, and which is going to include user identities, device identities, and overall the organization's identity driven signals which are part of access control decision making, right? In the organization, right? So it is going to bring all the signals together and then it is going to enforce the controls across the identities, devices, and applications and together, right? So uh, the conditional access policy is also going to be used and part of zero trust, right? So zero trust is a security principle that we can use and leverage across the organizations to implement and make sure we are compliant with zero trust security so that we are making sure the identities, devices, applications, and everything that is being used across the business, across the organization is safe and secure, right? So that was the all about or bit of the conditional access policy. And now I will jump over to the portal here and I'll share my screen and show you how we can create a different conditional policy from the existing pre-built templates, right? Also, I'm going to show you a brand new template that is in preview mode currently, and that's going to be uh, very useful in different situations, but also it has two sides. One is with a good approach with the good sides, and second is going to be the side which really we or any organization maybe or may not be looking to implement that basis on their requirements and use cases and different approaches, how we should tackle or handle those situations, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Let me share my screen quickly here and I can simply show you that one. All right, so here I'm in Entra ID portal. Basically, this is from Azure portal, right? Portal.azure.com, and I just open up Microsoft Entra, right? So from here also we can open it up and then we can simply get into the portal, right? So here under the conditional access tab or section, we can see that there's new tab. This is the tab which was already there, and this tab is still being improved and growing with a different and default as well as pre-built conditional access policies that Microsoft is building and providing to easy enough access as well as those can be implemented with one go, right? So let's click on it. And here you can see at the top, there are different templates or segments we can say, or sections we can say. And under each section, we have different set of policies. Those are the pre-built templates, right? And also to learn about each of these templates, we have learn more button here and we can see the policy. Also, we can download the JSON file as well, right? So we can download the JSON file of that particular conditional access policy, right? Because this is a pre-built template. And if I wanted to see what is baked into that policy, I can simply download it and go through the file or go through that JSON file, and I would be able to see and read and everything. I can learn from it. Maybe if in case I wanted to make any changes, any improvement on it, I can simply go ahead and do that as well, right? So the major part of this video was to show you the policy which is in preview currently. So this is the policy that is being in preview, and seems this is still in preview and different testing phases. And as soon as this has been thoroughly tested and is available for customers, they can simply go ahead and deploy this policy across the organization, right? Also, I wanted to talk about each of these sections here at the top right. At the top, you can see, and each of these are the different segments where you see different policies which are already created and baked for us. We can simply select this policy and then we can start creating the conditional access policy by using this template, because everything is already built in it and we don't need to make any changes or anything. And if in case we wanted to bring or change something, we can simply download a file and maybe customize it as per our needs. And then we can simply upload back to the conditional access one. So these are the different templates. We can leverage this as per our need. And it is also important to know and understand which policy is going to be used at what level or what requirement, so that we can drill down or we can limit down the access levels across the organization, as well as we can enforce the conditional access policies for applications. For it could be other guest users or internal users or any users across the organization. And under the remote, we have few as well. Then protect administrators and emerging threats. So under emerging threats, we have require phishing resistant multi-factor authentication for administrators, and all is going to show us all the compliance conditional access policies. Those are available for all the previous or existing tabs or sections, right? So let's go ahead into the previous stage or step, and then I'm going to talk about this one, right? So let's say I wanted to create a policy for MDM enrolled devices, and those devices should be compliant as well to access all the cloud apps across the organization or across the user base. And currently it's in preview mode, right? That means this is in preview and in testing phase, and definitely there would be different test cases would be executed on it, and then basis on that it will be made available for customers. So click next here, and once you click on or once you click next, you see the details about this policy includes basic of that policy, policy state. So default is going to be report only, but we can also simply click on and off if we wanted to turn it off and on. And for now, I'm going to keep it report only because I know this is a test tenant, and in test tenant, I haven't enrolled my device, right? And if I do that, then only it is going to allow me to access this portal of this application specifically, right? Or any other web applications or the Microsoft 365 applications that are being part of or scoped under the cloud apps for all users, right? And then here you can see assignments. It is targeting all users across the organization. It is also excluding the current user as in the administrator account. So this is not going to impact at all for my current account at least. And excluded roles. So this is going to exclude directory synchronization accounts. So this is going to exclude this account in case we have on-premises as well as cloud infrastructure, which is synchronizing between on-premises to cloud. In that case, we can simply exclude this account, and then or this would be automatically excluded, so we don't have to take any actions further, and this policy is going to be ready for us to deploy and across. Then cloud apps and actions is going to add all the applications which are cloud managed or cloud applications which are controlled and hosted within the cloud category in the Microsoft 365. And under the access control, you can see it has grant access basis on the required device to be marked as a compliant. If the device is not marked as a compliant, then it is simply not going to allow us to, or it's not simply going to let people access any of those applications, right? So this is that policy, and this is really helpful and a really great improvement on targeting uh, cloud applications. Those are business applications, and we really don't have to create anything apart from, but definitely as soon as we create a policy and open it up and see what is needed, even we can edit this policy as per our needs and make the appropriate changes, right? So it is not something every organization would follow the same path or follow the same practice, but they would have their own requirements, own particular requirements to be made, right? And it depends on the each and every organization's device management, organization management, and to users and groups and everything to be managed appropriately. So here you can see I have opened a policy. It is targeting all the users. Also, it is not excluding, it is excluding this one account or this one role, as well as my current account, which is the admin account with this particular enter ID tenant. Then it is also targeting all the cloud applications. You can see here, and let's see if it is excluding anything. No, it is not excluding anything at all. And under the networks, we have option to configure it, but there's nothing by default. Under the conditions, also we have all other bunch of options we can configure, including user risks, sign-in risk, then insider risk, on the device platform as well, what platform we wanted to allow or let people use it, right? And then locations, cloud or client applications, filters for devices, and authentication flows. And under the grant controls, you can see here, it is granting control or access with particular check mark, which is for device, required device to be marked as a compliant, right? Also here it shows that notification or prompt saying that don't lock out yourself, right? So make sure that your device is compliant in order to use this policy, right? So this is also important to know and understand and make the appropriate changes and rights. So now let's say people are accessing any of those business applications from their personal devices. And if this policy is triggered, that means this is not going to let them to use any of those business applications from their personal devices at all, right? So this is going to be the another side of this policy, and maybe people or the organizations would not like this to happen basis on the different people roles and responsibilities and requirements, because there are people who needs to work on more than one device from personal device as well as corporate owned devices, as well as any other devices which are not managed by the organization. So that this policy is going to kick out of those access as well as applications when people are accessing any of those cloud applications from their personal devices, right? So this is also important to know and set the right set of expectations and make sure we understand its consequences, right? So now I have set it as a report only, so it is not going to make any impact. But if I set it to on, then it is going to work as expected, whatever the configuration we have made. And then it is going to enforce this policy to the all the user accounts, as all of those are part of this policy here, right? So which is targeting all the users across the organization, and it is going to target it. So now this way, this policy is created, and this policy is going to really impact the user experience and all of that changes, right? So now here you can see there's option to see the policy as well, if in case we wanted to see anything there. And then we get few details, not all details, but we get few one, and here's the option to delete as well, if in case you are not you are not confident enough, or you don't know whether we should do this or not. And another big consequences might come in for the accounts which are used for the unwanted situations like break glass account. So break glass account is the account which is going to be used for situations when you locked out yourself as an administrator, as well as the situation where there was a breach or something like that. So there could be any actions when, if the whole tenant was taken down by the hackers, attackers, or cyber criminals, and you wanted to get into the tenant and do the appropriate changes from your side, you have that account as a secondary weapon to get into the tenant and work on your recovery of the access and everything together, right? So you need to make sure that account is also excluded from this policy as a part of keeping that account accessible whenever needed. It is not something, if you are blocking out everything, that means that account is also blocked and is part of this policy, and you won't be able to get into the system from any other device if your primary credentials, primary account, as well as the primary device gets locked because of these situations. Then you got to log in from another device by using the brick glass accounts and get into the system and start working on those requirements or those projects, right? So yeah, this is the another side of that one. Remember that one and make sure you do appropriate exclusion and inclusion under the focusing and assigning this policy. And yeah, so yeah, that's all about this policy. Hope you like it. Please do like, share, and subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to watch other videos about Microsoft 365, Azure, and FinOps. So, yep, that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.